Beep beep boop boop. Hello? Oh yeah. Well, whatever.
Hey guys, and welcome.
Well, this is day 8 of learning Godot. Hajime.
In this video, I'm going to show you how you can have collisions that you can't walk off the edge, you can't walk on red tiles, and you're able to walk behind walls that you can't intersect with. So let's go. If you want details on how this was set up, make sure to watch part 1. But first, let's go to our tile map to set up collision. In the tile set tab, go ahead and click the select tab. Now you'll notice we don't have anything related to collision here. So first, on the side, make sure you expand the tile set, add a physics layer. Now you can see physics appears here. You can click on that, physics layer 0. So I'm going to make it so we cannot step on the red tiles, so we just need to select the red tile for that. We can expand this editor here, and we can add a point. You might be able to see the faint outline on the top face. If you have the snap mode enabled, then if you click there, it should just snap to those corners. There we go. If you want to simply see if that's working, you can go to the top in the debug section, visible collision shapes. So if you run the game now, you can see what's a little darker around the red part here, and also darker that spawns this in. Let's add a player for this game. So let's click on the top, we can go to scene, new scene, other node, character body 2D. Let's add a sprite for that, attach a child, sprite 2D. You can just use the Godot icon for the sprite. Let's also add a collision shape. We'll again add a child node. You can just use control A wherever you set up. I'll do collision shape 2D. If you want a more specific one, you can use polygon 2D. The collision shape on the side, you can select a shape. I'll just use a circle. Let's zoom in here. I switch to the move mode. I'll drag it down here, and then back in the select mode. I'm using keybinds here, Q and W. We can expand this out, and I'll shift it up a bit. Now to attach a script to the character body 2D, so you can click attach a script. Let's keep that in for the script. And because default you will allow code, we can remove a lot of this. Let's set the speed to 30. Not gonna be jumping or use gravity here, so we can remove that. And let's remove everything except move and slide. We'll just use arrow keys for this, so for that we can say the direction is equal to input get vector. There's a trick, we can get all of the arrow keys with one line. That's a UI left, UI right, UI up, and UI down. Actually, anything, we can say direction. If something is true, but not anything false. So if something, let's set our velocity. The built-in party for the character body, we can say itself velocity equals direction times the speed. So if you want to remove, we're not going to the else case. We don't want to remove, velocity 0. We're using things, is velocity, is a vector, and it is a vector, is a vector 2, not 0. We're using here, is direction, is a vector, and multi vector changes, just otherwise, and move slide built-in, actually partition correctly. Let's save this. Now we're running scene as last time, and add any player, but inside the tile, we want to change things for there, so let's enter that scene on the side, let's enable white screen, change the index, now we can show up the file. You want to see 1, because that matches the index of the files, and also change our scale, make this 0.2, save that, back to main scene, let's small as once, let's move it, on green here, run game, running around, and see right here, now we get front column list, and walk over, one way, you could say, well, corner green tile, that's block here, on that side, I will block here, and every block, that's the only trick, you use the boundaries, inside our tile set, I will add any tile here, visible, first, let's enter the tile map scene, select it, go to tile set, tile set tab, let's do this up, and add this blank spot here, now remember, if you're doing up last time, so you get yourself, select one, make it one, negate the y, and let's zoom in the editor, select the corners, just run let's go and make the red tile on the element first, and then we'll swap this one, open this script, attach more tile last time,
Oh, okay. I didn't even know you could select corners like that. Which is useful. I've also been told, well, not told, but like, just like, you know, been like, be careful of like doing it, like using Z indexes, because they can be a little grrr moment. I can do that, or I could paint them. That turns on erase. Borg is Borg. Borg is Borg. Borg is Borg. Borg is Borg. Borg is Borg.
also let's go here, I won't need those things, so we'll use this option. Everyone running, So you want to add in that border, then you block that is not a tile you choose, but that is boundaries. You want to click those add irrevocable those, those are the offsets. So it's the array of their 2i. So let's talk about this is 0 and a1, and we still here. 0, 1, 1 is 0, and a 1 is 0. Ideal cells are running use, but the cells are use equal to get use cells we thought means last time. We have our layers. We can say layers dot level 0, that's 4. This is all the use. We can say for spot in use. I can get all these offsets. We can say for offset in offsets. Let's say our first spot is where offset use plus the offset. So equal to spot plus offset. Check the spot ID. We can get cells source ID. So this is layer 0, layer 0, layers dot level 0. Coordinates is our first spot and we get our properties. So we can know this is equal to -1. That means the spot is empty. It's empty. Let's place in at a tile. For our tile, that's 1 0. Let's say variable means we get 4. We call this boundary as follows. This is 1 0 for this spot here. But the cells ID is 1 empty. So let's place a boundary. We can set cell on level 0. So layers level 0. Coordinates is our first spot. The ID is the main source. And now coordinates is the boundary as follows. So we're going to copy all now it's all functions that way and try out. There we go. We can boundary. We can walk out. And so we can make those visible. Again, erase out. We can style add a collision on top. This is this is 0 1. I'll change the 0 1. There we go. We click the drop the visible is how we actually look at the game. There we go. We'll take this back here. And this is going to be walls. Let's fix that. Let's do time again. File set tab. Make sure you need select tab. I'll select the tiles on your walls. Understand this. You want to go to the wall looking on level 1. So we're block above the green. So as the collision sections bottom part here. So the paint shape here is on top. And the bottom part of that. There's a drawing like this. And we can tab on these here. Make sure you get select mode and make sure on the 1 as well. And timing that thing right there to the other not the wall. Now if we run into the wall and around like that. You want the players not to spot anywhere. And we can collision shape. You can walk up. Collision shape is how we actually play the game. There we go. We'll take this back here. And this is going to be walls. Let's fix that. Let's do time again. File set tab. Make sure you're in the select tab. I will select the white tile. This one will be our walls. We'll expand this. We want to go into this knowing that the wall is always going to be on level 1, so one block above the green. Set it up as if the collision is actually on this bottom part here. So the paint shape here is on top, and we only use the bottom corner of that. The others we will draw in like this. And you can go to tile map tab. I'll just place one of these here. Make sure you're in the select mode, and make sure you're on level 1 as well. Back inside main, let me move our player to the other little thing not on top of the wall. Now if we move around, you can see I can't do a path wall, but I can wrap around it like that. You want your player to not just pop out of nowhere, and you expand the collision shape. You can see I can't walk up either. That's what we want. That about covers it. Where I can do collision on your boundaries and walls in the middle. If you have questions, you can ask below.
Wait. What is this layer? It's this layer. This is this layer. Does this matter? No, does not matter at all. What if I added a tile map? I don't know if this works. Alright, and then I put this guy in that. Nope. Yeah, like I don't understand how they get it to walk behind them.
Walk outside of, and this will even better if we make those invisible like I mentioned. And our tile set, I will add a new tile below here that is invisible. So first, let's enter the tile map scene, select it. And UI character body 2D, we can click attach script. Let's keep that name for the script. And we can default you with a lot of code. We can remove a lot of this. Let's set the speed to get 30. Map the side, we can select a shape. I'll just use a circle top. We can go to a scene, new scene, other node, character body 2D. Let's add a sprite for that. Attach a child, sprite 2D. We can see the Godot icon for the sprite. Also add a collision shape. Well, again, add a child node. You can use control where it's made up. I'll do collision shape 2D. You want to one, use polygon 2D. Right down here, and back in select mode. I mean jumping where he's right here, so you can move that. UI up, and UI down. Now check actually 1, because that matches it. Easy index of the files. Save this. Now go to our main scene like last time, and we can add any player. But inside the tile map, we want to change these for players. Let's enter that scene on the side. Let's enable white and the index, now we have to show up on the table of the file. You want to see it 1. Because that matches the index of the files. And we'll change our scale. Okay, so 2, save that, back to the main scene, it's a little small.
I don't think my Z index for this. It's a 5? Wait, what? Wait, hold up. What is the index for this? It's a 0. Okay, that might have been the issue. Or now let's see. Oh, that was the issue. God dang it. It was the Z index. This was way in front, that's why. Okay, that makes sense now. Now I'm behind the thing. Okay, now let's say I move my prop. Okay, that means I can do it over the tile map and it's okay. Or actually no, I'm gonna leave my prop here. I'm just gonna move my character here. So like if I walk behind this, I should disappear. I didn't disappear. Oh, the white sword's not enabled for this. Bang. What the heck? What the heck? Let's see, turn on Y source for literally everything. Is it just my or is this layer? Should I do it like this? Maybe I do it like that. Nope. What the frick? Okay, for some reason the prop mechanic doesn't work. I don't actually know why. Y source enabled, Z index is still 0. Do I have to literally enable? Huh? Okay, let me try again. Okay, everything has Y sort. What? What the frick? Does this even matter? Let me put this guy over. It doesn't. Okay, let me put it behind him. Yeah, it doesn't matter. What the hell? This prop doesn't work. I don't understand why. Yeah, I don't really understand why. Whatever, bro. Prop doesn't really work. But like, if I put it in the tile map, it's fine. Let me make this guy a physics layer. Let's do that. I just want to see if it. So like, there's my. It's kind of hard to see. Let me replace it with something that's like easier to see. Okay, now that's fucked up. Which layer is this? It's this layer. Let me swap these out. Why does that look so weird? at least it's clipping through. Right, like this is like I'm in front of this guy and I'm behind this one, and then like at least that's working, right? I mean, this one I'm clipping through, but at least it's like doing it right. I couldn't get it to do it. So at least that works. Just watch some things.
I recently tried out the Godot engine in the GMTK Game Jam. I really liked it, so here's 5 reasons that I love Godot. So my favorite programming language is Python, and so it was a nice surprise when it turned out the GD script, the language used in Godot, is almost exactly the same. I really like this concise syntax that doesn't have curly brackets either, though that was a big win for Godot, and why I started using it in the first place. Another awesome feature is testing speed. For example, let's say I have this code here, which I've run before, I run it, pretty fast start time, but the major advantage is when we make a change to the code, and then I run it again, still the exact same start time, it's insanely fast compared to Unity. Another useful feature that we have is being able to use scenes as their own entities. So for example, if I make a new one here, then I'm able to just run it instantly. I don't have to insert it into an existing scene. This really speeds up development tremendously. Another useful feature that we have is the expression keyword. So this is similar to eval in Python. I run this here, and we'll evaluate this expression. So you got the correct answer of 35. Another awesome feature we do is timers. By using the auto start option, the code will run right when the scene starts, and now our code will run every second except for the second instead of 2. Whether you want to cool down for shooting bullets or you want to run some code after delay, timers make things really simple. And now every second the program outputs the word boom. You can also choose to make this timer only execute once. So if I run this code now, then it will say boom after 1 second. Then after that, it does not say it anymore. So let me know what you love about Godot. Are you going to use it, Noah? Alright, I have a blank project here. First, I'm going to drag in the asset I want to use for my tile set. Alright, I've dragged in my tile set. You can feel free to... Today we're going to be talking about how we can have a 10x workflow in Godot. The setup for this, let's go to our editor and project settings. We're going to set the keybinds so we can edit rest of our shortcuts. To set the rest of our keybindings, first we go to editor settings, shortcuts, and down here I'll set this to Control K. And then we also want to set our project settings. So I have mine set so that I can use Control P or Control J, but if you want a different one, you just press the plus button. You also want to be able to test quickly, so we're using the same button to start and stop the game. But I personally use Control B. Default ones are always on the left side here. So if I just press Control B to start the game, then it's here, and I press Control B to stop again. Very quick to test. When we want to make edits in our code and move lines around, I have mine set to Control Shift up or down. So for example, I have this line, hold and Shift, and then press the down arrow key. I can do that to move this line to wherever I want to. Roll Shift up to go upwards. We also change the capitalization.
Wait, is that not Alt? That's just Alt for me. Let's keep it Alt.
I have mine set to Control L for lowercase and Control U for uppercase. So for example, I highlight this text here, and you Control U, and I can Control L to make it lowercase. Find your replace is also very useful. So if you want to replace all files, you can Control Shift R. I will replace this text here. I'll press replace, and I have replace all. Go undo. Be careful though, because this is not intelligent. If I replace the word main, I'll replace main in this variable as well. So be careful, because we want to show more the editor at once. I personally use Control E for this. So this coding editor is kind of small. You press Control E, click to toggle this. So compared to this, I prefer having this much space because being able to close tabs. So for example, I personally use Control E for this. So this coding, be careful, because we want to show more the editor at once. I personally use Control E for this. So this coding editor is kind of small. You press Control E, click to toggle this. So compared to this, I prefer having this much space because being able to close tabs. So for example, if I open up this one, I press Control and click, and it opens up this nice documentation. Press Control W to close out that. Next is hiding the output. So that's this setting here. I press Control K to open up the editor settings. Go to the output section here. So it's very useful. This is what makes it that when I run the game, I can show what well, if I open up this one, I press Control and click. E, click to toggle this. So compared to this, I prefer having this much space. Next is being able to close tabs. So for example, if I open up this one, I press Control and click, and it opens up this nice documentation. Press Control W to close out that. Next is hiding the output. So that's this setting here. I press Control K to open up the editor settings. Go to the output section here. So it's very useful. This is what makes it that when I run the game, I can show whatever output I have. Then when I stop the game, I close this. Not taking up my screen space again. I don't have to click down here. Next is easily switching between the script editor and the 2D editor. So I have mine set to F1. Go to 2D view. F3 to go to scripts. And here's an anti-helpful thing that's built in. So there's a keybind to quit, but I don't want to accidentally press this and quit on my game while I'm working. So let's unbind that. If you found this helpful, thanks for watching. Here's 10 more Godot workflow tips. You can easily change scenes and nodes. For example, you can press Control N to create a new node of any type. And if you want to attach another node, Control A instead of just pressing this button. If you want to attach an existing node that you've already created, you can use this button, or just Control Shift A is faster. You can choose to run individual scenes instead of just having one main scene. You can use by either pressing this button at the top, or more conveniently press F6. So we can run just this scene, and it works. If I want to run the main game, then I would just use my normal keybind of Control B that we discussed last time. This is a helpful tip for navigating your code. So if you have this code here and I click into this, I can go back by using the back mouse button. Of course, it would be more convenient if this was a keybinding if somebody wants to add that. You also want to show more screen space by turning off the minimap. If you have it on, it's covering up at least 4 letters here. You turn it off. There we go. You can make changes while the game is running, similar to Unity. I can run this scene here, it says Godot rules, and click in the remote tab. Type whatever, and it shows up while the game is still running in the background. If you're making a multiplayer game, then you want to enable 2 instances instead of just opening the project twice. You can go to debug, run multiple instances. Select however many you want. I run 3. And we have 3 instances of the game running. Do asset library. If you're having trouble finding how to do something from the docs, you can go to the asset library projects in the launcher. There's some very helpful ones here. You can also view the asset library from within the engine itself. This is only tools, not projects. Next, if you have to reload your project, if you're in a 2D scene, you can just do Control Shift Y, so I have mine down too. And the project is back. You can check out part 1 here. Thanks for watching. In this video, I'm going to show you some lesser known things in GD script. This is just going to be inside of scripting, no visuals for this one. First, let's look at a function for doing things with extreme values. So we'll just label it extreme values. So I'll just print these out to the console here. First function is the max function. You might be familiar with this if you use Python. You can give it some numbers, but you can also give it more than 2. You can give any number arguments here. If we run this code and we call this function, I can see tell us the max value was 2, 3, 4. Similarly, we have the min function. So instead of max, we just say min. It tells us the min value here was 3. Related to this, we have all these numbers in an array. Then you can say print array for AR.max, and it's also max value in array was, and similarly within, just increase the font size there for you guys. Next, let's look at lambdas. So we have line functions, so we'll link it this. So we have some numbers here, and set equal to just some random values. So you want to know with sort, you want this. So I will just find out the extreme values function. We have our lambda example. You can see the sort numbers. We can also use custom sort. For example, enums custom. If you say callable, we this. Because this is a sort function, as you know, things. We have two arguments here. We say sort custom sort, and I will just find out the extreme values function. So now that we are running our lambda example, you can see that sorts the numbers, but we can also use a custom sort. So for example, you do nums.custom sort custom. You can see this is a callable. The way that we write those, because this is a sorting function, has to know how to compare two things. So we have to give it two arguments here. We say func and use x and y. This is a little bit different in Python. If you use the lambdas there, you have to actually use the word return here. We can say return. In this case, let's sort in the opposite direction. So we can say return. We want to say x greater than y because the default is x less than y. So if we run that and print out nums afterwards, you can see our numbers are in reverse order now. Now let's say we want to have all of the even numbers come before the odd ones. We can do that too. We can say turn x modulo 2, so that's the remainder is less than y modulo 2. There, now you guys should be able to see the whole thing. So if we run that, that gives us all the even ones before the odds. We can try this, so then we just sort them by default beforehand. You can see now it's in sorted order, even first, then odds. Now let's look at checking every element on this for a condition. I will just copy this part, and we will call this array conditions. Go ahead and put this at the top here. So we have some functions that are callable, the any function. We use that on an array. So again, this takes a callable, we can say lambda. This one only takes a single argument, so let's do that. We need whatever we want here. I use x. The reason this one takes a single argument is because, well, any is just a checking condition individually against each element, whereas to sort things, you have to know what you're comparing against. So we want to return, in this case, let's check do we have any elements that are above 7. If we run that, that is true. We do have elements above 7, 8 is here. But I was checking if we have anything above 10, that is false, as you expect. Now, as you might have seen there, we also have the all function. This one checks the condition true for every element in the list. For example, we already know this one here, there's nothing that's above 10 here, but maybe we check everything above 6, and that's still going to be false, because while we do have 8, it's not true for every element in the list here. So we want something true for everything, we say all these are factored in 1, and you can see that's true, and while we're working all these lambdas, that's what filtering. And that's numbers here. So we need an array and then a filter. Again, it takes a lambda and this, and remove things that we want. For example, let's say I only want all the numbers, so again, filter only applies to single elements at a time. So we apply one argument, so we check something even, and use the modulo at the same time. We check only keep things that are equal to 2, but we have this function that runs. Run that, but if you return, use that here, use the language, if you numbers on the so we set numbers alright, so this is here. We say numbers 2, we instigate an array using range keyword, and 1 from 10, we want to 11, this is an exclusive program. We all numbers from 10, but if numbers are less than 5, for example, numbers x less than 5, for example, you're trying to value specified here, but for example, now we're going to see values. So we have again, set equal to 5.2, we around this, so round, we have a round keyword, call it top, 5.2, round to 5, but we also have seal, and the ceiling, even 5.2, when we round down to 5, we use seal, always round up, similarly, if we had n equal to 5.8, we use 4, the inverse of seal, always round down, even though we think round up, we use 4, round down to integer, they have a equal to 5, we use the function, they also have a value, we want to get up to 10, we want to go halfway, so we say halfway, it's 25, this is function, you process, they just writing, so it's values, so we had y and range, and we use those we say, either a or say a starting value, we go up to 10, so we want to go from say load by, and we're going to say y, so we go down, we value here, we go down, and so we do end values, so we random values, so we random range, so we say y and range, we print random range, and that's inclusive from those two. So we only want to go down to the nearest integer. On a different note from those, we can also adjust a value. Let's say we have a is equal to 5. We can use the alert function. So we say where are we starting at? Well, we'll say that we're starting at a's current value. We want to get up to some number. So in this case, let's say we're going to go to 10, but we only want to go halfway. So we can say after that, if you print a after this, you can see 7.5. This is useful if you're running a function in the process. So you can just gradually make it go up based on how much time has passed. So if you smoothly transition between values. So for example, if you had for I in a range of 10, you can't use floats in these ranges. You could say print if you alert a, so let's make that a's starting from 5 again. We want to go up to 10, but we want to only go some small amounts. We'll say load to I by 10. Compared to Python, do this way we convert the integer I, the float value. Otherwise, it always round down. You can see gradually goes up starting here. So we go at 10% at a time, and gradually go up. Next, let's look at doing things with random values. Actually, it's also random value testing. So if you want to generate a random value in a range, that's very common in games. So you want to generate 10 of them. By the way, this is another syntax you can use. You can say for I in 10, so range 10. Personally, I used to do Python way, but we can show this for example. We do print rand f range, then specify inclusive from inclusive 2 value. For example, if we have point a value from 1 to 2.5, and we have to put this at the top. You can see these are all in fact values from 0.1 to 2.5. Similar to this, we can also use getting a float value and an integer value, so we can either, and say values from 1 to 5. Now, it's like different, so we have 2 values, but this is very small size, be it, say 50 here, and we can adjust this to be a larger range, and see how it is for values, but small size values, where you're getting 1 value range. We looked at this a little earlier, but let's look at a few more interesting renders. So as we know, let's try to do values. I can print s for the state statement, it prints I mod, just do a 10, mod I, gives us I mod 10, sets at the top, so I was actually I mod 2, 5 instead. Over here, 3 mod 5 is 3, and then 8 mod 5 from here is 3, here's something interesting, we do this again, but instead we start with some negative values, let's go from negative 5 to 10 here, and I will comment this one, previous Python, it's not really check negative values on answer from modulo, so if you prefer to be here from other languages like Python, and from negative values, let's go from negative 5 to 10 here, and I will comment this one. If you're used to Python, this might not be what you expect. We're getting negative values in our answer from modulo, so if you prefer the behavior from other languages like Python and Java and C#, I believe does it this way, the correct way, or at least away from those languages that you want, instead of the normal modulo symbol, we use pause mod for positive mod. So let's comment this example so it doesn't get mixed up here. So now it's as we expect. When we have a negative 1, it wraps to 4, so it's like a clock. You go backwards from 1, then goes to 12, for example. So just keep in mind if you're going to use negative numbers, and use pause mod if you want this behavior, and that's probably what you want. We will go ahead and wrap up things there. So I hope you learned something about lambdas and remainders and adjusting values. So if you have any questions, you can join the Discord below. Other than that, thanks for. In this video, I'm going to show you the basics of working with isometric games in Godot. This includes placing the blocks of code or manually, as well as stacking blocks and using top and bottom half slabs. So let's go. Alright, so we have a blank Godot project here, and for the assets, I'm going to use the one I showed in the example. I just imported the ISO file set here. I made this Steam game in just 4 months. Here's how I did it. As I've mentioned in the past, I use keybinds, so I use Control-Shift-O to quickly bring up the quick open scene, so I can switch over the scene quickly and then switch back my board. Going along with that, I use a lot of the same keybinds in VS Code. So in both Godot and VS Code, I use Control-T to go to whatever file I want. So that's for scripts. In Godot, I can quickly go to my board script. I personally prefer using VS Code because it works faster when the script is really large, but that choice is up to you. Inside of VS Code, I can quickly find in files by using Control-O. This will start by searching this file. So I can, for example, search for suit, and it will take me here, my center. When I make levels, like I mentioned in the past, I use the reveal inside my settings Control-Q. If I want to duplicate this level here, so I just Control-C, Control-V, rename it, say this is 17. I can delete all this, and using the snippets feature in VS Code, basically a macro. So I say I want my level template, and it auto-types all this, so that I don't have to copy paste all the time. You can easily set these up by doing Control-Shift-P, and then snip it, configure snippets, and then you can make whatever you want. When using VS Code, I normally split up windows, I keep the levels on the side here, because they don't take much space, and I can go below that. I have a to-do section of some kind, so I'm going to do here, for example, say fix a bug of some kind, I have a macro, which is control M for me, that I want to put in this hashtag done, so it's easy on my workflow, just fix a bug, mark it done, and I just use GitHub desktop, so it's easily track changes, like the changes I made, and I can easily commit, this is the same data, but it's GUI, so it's easier for some people, or you want to use the file changes and just click on them and show them here. Back inside Godot, I have a hotkey, which is Control-D, when I run a game, I use auto hotkey, makes that works even from VS Code, so I press Control-D here, it automatically switches over, now I'm in Godot, and I will run a game automatically, you know, so you're getting a little slow to start, you can close out all your script tabs, and from the extra scenes that you open, now I use the Control-D shortcut, that was much faster. When I instantly start into the game, that's another hack that I have in my project settings, it's normally supposed to go to the loading screen, like the loading logo for the game, I set it up, it's in the editor, and automatically go to the game scene, I go to that right here, I just have is running editor, as a global, you use OS.as feature editor, and I don't have to use users, I have a different pulse on top, I install the comment for, and it will treat me like a user, and a trick using 2 monitors, it's a lot easier, so for example, I'm going to shrink this all into 1 monitor, let's say I have a game running here, and it's debugging I have here, this is level 22.9, we have VS Code, I'll go to 22.9, let's bring the game on the second monitor, so say I want to change this out here, A9, this is just a text file in the game, I have a hotkey to reload the scene, you can see how this is set in as A9, I have to reset the editor, it's amazing, if you only have 1 monitor, what you do when you're project setting in Godot, and you go to window, always on top and check that, don't make the game window always on top, and then you turn it down if you want it, so I just change out the editor, that's actually not a huge deal, you can actually make changes inside the editor, and it will reflect in the game, for example, I want to tile, for example, in the local version, so if I want this change to persist just for the current game, I go to remote tab, main, cards and handler, and hide that. I can see all the cards in my hand disappear. And I pull that back. I'll say I want to make a turn, I start the game, then I put my hand, I do that in the local tab, and it does update in the live version, so I uncheck the ability for cards in hand, and see it hides. Not only that, you can make code changes as well. Here's an example of reloading. So if I change the code and then save it, then while the game is running, it just automatically restarts and saves the card I said. Then I undo that change, and I save it, and then it freezes for a second, and then it goes back to how it was. Very convenient. So if I'm typing out some long change, and I autosave for so I don't want that necessarily. I have a keybind so to toggle autosave, just control shift Y for me, so now I can type stuff out in issues, you can see the file says it's not saved yet, but then I can just change it back whenever I want, and now I can press save, and now the game will set up. So I saved too far here, so I'll just one card. If I go to 130, let's say, you can see your space more again, and I'll just undo what I had, and I can toggle out on autosave, and I want to save when I do that, and you see my card back together again. If I want to see replace this function used, I do Alt Shift F12, which is what I have to do, which is my references, and it tells me where this function is used, and I swap between all of them, and if I want to see what definition that function was, I just have to just F12, and that just jumps to definition for me. This might be the best way standard, but I have most of my code in this file here, and so I have a hotkey to go to this file, it's in the first position, this file there, it's in the first editor in group, which I just control back to, yeah, using my this is like 500 lines, and then I have to go back shortcuts and go forward, which is Alt minus, so I'm at the top of the file, and I press Control N to go to the end of the file. So wait, what was I just looking at? I do Alt minus to go back, and then I'm looking at this, let's go right to this, that's Alt Shift minus to go over. If I set one of these ones, I can custom myself. Because I use quite often is Control E, toggle the sidebar view, and I want to my screen. Another hotkey I use is Control G to jump to a line, but if I want to go to line at 1200, I can do that. I can set in Godot, makes it easier to keep hotkeys consistent, so it's also Control G here. Let's look at how to use the debugger. So I'm going to set a breakpoint on this line. What that does, when the program gets this line as running, it's going to pause the whole program when it inspects things. So let's try this out. So I'm going to make it that line, I'm fixing 3 here. You can see the debugger thing, the game is frozen, and I can inspect, I just run these variables, or I want to all my variable values, I insert them down here. So you can see this new locations as 0, 0 inside it. Nothing unusual going on here. I can see this is an empty array, and position is 0, 0. Let's say I want to pause this line down here, so I can set another breakpoint. So if it's paused this line here, what I can do is I can say continue, which means I don't care about what's happening, so I want to make a breakpoint. This is just a breakpoint line, but it goes into this function. So I want to say what's going on in that function, we use the control down here. So you can see this one is set over, that means I don't care about this, but I actually want to see what the function is doing. I can use it set into, so we go into that. Now it took me to the definition of the function being called. Now say I want to look at the function here, tile rotation. If I use set into again, now it's looking at the tile rotation. Now say I got a bug that was causing issues. So for already inside this function, I use set over, as you can see the next line of this function. I'll say, alright, the same back original breakpoint I made, I use continue, which is button here, and I just said, alright, we went back and I breakpoints, and I use continue. Let's say I'm done investigating here, I go back to writing the original breakpoint, and I want to see all my breakpoints. I do that by right-clicking the file here, and say delete all breakpoints in org.g. So now in the game again, I place down a card, you can see it doesn't pause the game this time, it just works. Yeah, I used to do one of these just for statements, for debugging, but it definitely is a lot easier if you use the debugger in some situations. So if you found me helpful, you want to help me out, then you can switch my game here, so you can get this super boss. Other than that, thanks for watching.
Signals are very important to have a smooth running game. Most of the time, a lot of people don't think about signals are basically talking to each other. This process has all the game. So you can see that it isn't a break. Here's an updated look at
Here's 3 tips to reduce your game dev pain. First is streamline level creation. For me personally, I create levels in text files and then parse those into the game automatically. This speeds up level creation tremendously. This is also what I used in Redux Adventure a few years ago. I translate text on the left into level on the right. If you want to go even more extreme, you can use JSON. With JSON, you can specify even more information about each slot and grid. The health of the enemy is 9 or it does 3 damage, or in this case, each symbol map 2, and the maps themselves. Because these levels are text files, you can direct them into output text like Python. You can produce levels randomly or see ideas from this, it's up to you. And it's to get feedback often. I've seen this too many times, people spend days or weeks or even years on some feature or game, but already doesn't actually like it. Instead, I recommend feedback way more often. Is the game actually fun and more fun? Press try to move on. If it is fun, I'm using interest, and that's more obvious for you. You can change things, and nobody likes the same workout. Things better me. Last is user control. No someone gets 24 hours using zero, other parts of the 3 man. That's much easier to stop. When you back on 2 clicks, I'll go back to the game with the network. Also, a lot of the people. My first project, we user. I'm not doing that. I'm so glad you can get it. I'm not sure this one for the work. Thanks for watching. One of the first changes you'll notice when you create a new project, you'll see it automatically creates the folder. You don't have to click the button here. This was long overdue, but it's finally in. In 4.2, the title bar was white, but now it's black. If we add a tile map, you'll see now there's tile map and tile map layer. The tile map is now deprecated. Deprecated just means they can still use it, but they're going to take it out in the future, or it's recommended not to use it. So we use a tile map layer. Here's that familiar stuff you're seeing at the bottom. Now I make my tile set as we always did in the past. Go to the tile set tab, drag over my tiles. We can see layers are no longer here. Instead, my understanding is to create another new layer. So I'm going to get a new base node, set this as the parent, and then attach another layer to that. You can see how I use options here to the next layer that I have set up, or I can select them all. This is an interesting change I'll take getting used to. Another change is that pathfinding with A star grid 2D can now work on it. I have these options here to go to the next layer that I have set up, or I can select them all. This is an interesting change I'll take some getting used to. Another change is that pathfinding with A star grid 2D can now work on an isometric grid correctly. Here's the GitHub page for that. This is a really great change. You'll be able to do isometric pathfinding. In 4.3, after you change the font size, it doesn't freeze the editor. That's so nice. There's 2,000 commits here. Got a ton of stuff from asset lib to build system. It just goes on forever. So I'm sure there's a ton more changes that I missed. If you have some favorite changes, then let me know down below. Other than that, thanks for watching. Free to use it as well, link below. Now let's make a new 2D scene. I'm going to name this a meme. Now let's right click and add child node. I'm going to make a node to hold my layers. I'm going to make another node 2D. I'll set layer holder. Now attach that which is this one. I'll make the tile map layer node. This is 1.3. On tile, new tile set, so empty. New tile set, make a tile set. Tile set is 64, and I change that to size here. That's all the tile is. Not on the tile set tab. And drag it over to my symbol 4x tile 6. Now I'm going to make the atlas here. I'll say yes. Just here. But we also make another layer here. Let's do that. I'm going to duplicate. So I'm going to have to right click and say duplicate. Now I choose these. I go to move tool. See now I have 2 of them. I'm going to undo and delete all these red tiles on the second layer. You can select the eraser. Use the rectangle tool. Make sure you have the mouse node. There we go. This is all the red tiles on this layer. But the second layer, I'll change to blue. And I'll go back to the pencil node and use the eraser. So then we have the 4.3. Layers on a certain node. You have to rotate one. I have the rotate tool. And control. So you can see I rotate each layer individually. You have to rotate layer. So now we're over here. Whenever you apply all my project here. But I'm writing the asset. I'm using my asset. You can use my asset. You can use as well. I'm making a new 2D scene. I'm making this meme. Now let's right click and add child node. I'm going to make a node to hold my layers. I'm going to make another node 2D. I'll set layer holder. Now attach that which is this one. Make the tile map layer node. This is 1.3. On tile, new tile set, so empty. New tile set. Make the tile set. The tile set is 64. I'm changing that to size here. That's all the tile is. Now I'm going to tile set tab and drag it over. So my symbol 4x tile 6. It's going to ask if I want to make the atlas here. I'll say yes. Just like the old days, we can draw up here, but we can also make another layer here. Let's do that. I'm going to duplicate this one that we already have. So you can right click and say duplicate. So now I have 2 of these. If I go to the move tool, you can see now I have 2 of them. I'm going to undo and delete all these red tiles on the second layer. So you can select the eraser and use the rectangle tool. Make sure you go back to the mouse mode. There we go. So this is all the red tiles from this layer. But with the second layer selected, I'll change to blue and I'll go back to the pencil mode and deselect the eraser. So one advantage that we have in 4.3 is each layer is on a separate node. We have separate rotation for each one. If I go to the rotate tool and I hold control to snap, you can see it. I rotate each layer individually. You can also have separate material for each layer. So remember, what's a little bit weird. Whenever you apply is going to apply to all tiles on that layer. We can now also add new layers at runtime. So let's look at how to do that. I'm going to duplicate this blue layer, press duplicate, and I'm going to delete everything on this layer. I'm going to go to the mouse node, hit the eraser, and use the rectangle tool. Click all that. So I hide the first 2 layers. And see if there's anything on this layer. We can right click and say save branch as seen. We can call this default layer. I'm going to reveal the first 2 layers again. There's 2 ways you can do this. If you don't want the old school days, you can have a script beyond the node that's holding these layers, or you can have a script for each layer independently. I would say you want to have a script for each one if each layer is completely different. I personally prefer having one controller node for each layer, but it's up to you how you want to set this up. I'm going to select this layer holder node and attach a script, and sure, I'll leave it as layer holder. Add layers at runtime. Let's drag over the default layer again set up. I'm going to click and drag, and before you release, circle control, and we'll add one extra stuff for you. I'm inside the array section. Take this out, and I'll say we'll add in 3 new layers, but that'll say for I in range 3. You can say var new layer is equal to default layer dot instantiate. I'm going to create the layer, we'll add as a child to this node. So let's say add child, and add a new layer. Let's go ahead and test that's working. So if you want this empty layer on the side here, let's change it. We can delete that. Now press the button. After we want to make a main scene, we'll select current. Main scene in default location, but insert the line. Now it's only remote tab. We drop down main and layer holder. See if you add in here. But once first one have the original name, then there's getting layer differently. Equal that works. I'll stop the game for our understanding here. And we're getting the layers on the side. We're working with the tile map and the layers. I personally got a different layer for each type of object. For example, I have background files. I want to have some space for different tiles. Then I want to apply in your game, but this one I have a layer for each color. So this first one is the red tiles. We're reading it. You know, name. I use it shortcut F2. I'll just red layer. And the second one is blue layer. This is one way we can do this. We can drag on the red layer over here, and before you release, circle control. So we want to run the layer directly. We can do that. Remember, the script here is on the layer holder. You want to add some tiles to the layer or the blue layer. So drag down over, drag over, circle control. Right here, I'll say blue layer. Set cell. This is what we had in the past. But now because the blue layer is not tile map, it's a tile map layer. We have to layer placed on. So you see the coordinates to view where it's going to be placed. Select the layer. Make sure your mouse node. Remember, I rotate here. So let's get that. Now this is rotation. There we go. Now I'm going to go backwards. And my mouse over is 0 down here. So here's the -0. Then you do next 0 on the y. Remember, Y is up here, 0, 3, 4, 5, say vertical line here, blue tiles. So all these have the negative 3 x value. So let's say for you, let's say 4y in range, say negative 6, 4, 6, 2, 5, 6, 2, 5, is negative 3, and y was 4, and this is the from, is the player down here, the layer is 0, is 0, but you end up in 0, and you check out your set, and here, so 0, 1, 9, 0, so adding that means a constant main source ID, and it's a constant main source ID, the main source ID equals 0, so down here, main source ID, the other coordinates, down here, main coordinates, position in the position is 1, and x here, z4, 1, and 1 here, and a constant here, is 1, and use that 1, constant blue tile equals 2 y, 1, 1, and if you want to tile atlas, position atlas, copy that, and down here, or blue tile atlas, and the blue tile is up here, equals 1, currently 1, and that's 1, so like the tile set, maybe here, keep in mind, keep in mind, this is bottom right quadrant here, but the main layer, and I knew my camera to be, and this for this intrusion, so now, I also but it's fine, you're going to remove the camera, also camera, the neutral, and you want the whole thing so axis, and you want to shift, so right down, and then, and you can control the tile system, and I can just join, and you can just use one, but so you can project, use that layer, use a new layer, use that tile, put it in order again, you want to place on the tiles, and you have a blue layer here, just right on the layer, you say the tiles, and the index, so this 0, red, this 1, blue, you say project, the first new layer, the green layer, right, layer, and 0, 1, and 2, is the green layer, that green layer index equals 2, the tile green layer index, and you know, let's say a tile layer, you use that cell, you use that, but you want to say a green layer, you say a tile layer as tile layer, so now you go here, but you want to green layer, that's cell, you use cell here, we do this, and we know what remember, I'm still here, and draw on top of here, for example, and draw a line right down here, so blue and red, right here, the 0 is 0, but then say 4y in range 6, and cell x 2, I, x 0, and y of our variable, so you have the variable and green tile position, minus 0, 1, variable top of that, so you get this line, so and green, and position is 0, and we're not going to here, so green tile position, so now, so you save the tile, you get the value of the and the position, and we change the game, there now works, we want to be right here, I change this right here, so 3, and go to say 3, and 3, and 3, and 4, there we go, and so the top, you just top, you need to do section, check all on top of that, and now, you can go in there, and you'll say on top, so if you have to continue, I select the green layer, and change the extra position, so change the extra position, this is not do in 4, 2, you need to move here, so you just go like, that's like here, I change the example, change the 4, 3, and change the 4, 3, and all of you, and next one, alright, I'm here, and then right now, I'm going to so I made for using a project in the description. So with that other node, add a tile up here with this tile set, I'll take a new tile set, and click on this tile set. Instead of tile shaping square, I want to keep it symmetric. So this is like the tile size, you want the x to be 32. This is the value symmetric, the value, the tile size works with. The tile layout, you want to see it down, this is it, that I want the coordinates work, and I'll see that with the vertical offset. Actually, first one, because it's to be 32. This is the general way that people do isometric. You have the x value twice that of the y value, and that's what my tile set works with. The tile layout, you want this to be diamond down, and this basically sets up how we want the coordinate system to work. And we also use that with the vertical offset. I personally prefer this one because as you can see my mouse over here, that's 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2, and when I go the other way, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3, 0. The other one kind of
Oh, you know what's messed up? That actually looks better. 16 by 8 actually looks like, cause there's like a gap. Like you see there's a gap. Okay, yeah, 16 by, yeah, it should be double. It's like that looks somewhat like there's no gap now.
kind of weird. When you go down by one space like this, then it increases both values. So now at the bottom, in the tile set tab, drag over the image with the tile set, and we want to create the atlas. Now there's a few things we want to change here. You would think that we want the texture region size to match the tile size. Actually, we want the tile size to be different because that's the top face of the block, whereas the region size is just the whole block itself. We don't need all these blank ones, so a trick you can use is the 3 dots. They remove tiles and fully transparent texture regions. We currently try to use this, so we go to the tile map tab, I click on these, just it looks like it might be working fine. This isn't really what we want, but in your game when people are playing and they want to see the red part here, and they click on this part right here, they expect you clicking on it, the red box, but they actually click on this white one back here. So fix that, go to the tile set tab, go to select, so select the tiles here, you can hold shift to select multiple, so select that part. This isn't really what we want, texture regions. If we currently try to use this, so we remove blank ones, so a trick is just the whole block itself. We don't need all piece of block size. Actually, we want the tile size to be different, that's the top piece of the block, whereas the region size is just the whole block itself. We don't need all these blank ones, so a trick you can use is the 3 dots. They remove tiles and fully transparent texture regions. If we currently try to use this, so we go to the tile map tab, I click on these, just it looks like it might be working fine. This isn't really what we want, but in your game when people are playing and they want to see the red part here, and they click on this part here, they expect you clicking on it, the red box, but they actually click on this white one back here. So fix that, go to the tile set tab, go to select, so select the tiles here, you can hold shift to select multiple, and go and select all of them. In the rendering section, texture origin, this is basically where the textures I'm using here. If using the ones, just basically align this very faint outline here, you may not be able to see on your screen. You want it to be a -8 here, so that pushes it. Okay, I want to draw this section up here. Now we're playing our game, and click on new render section, and select that tile. So the add element selected, we're all going to have that effect now. We do want it to be the same as the bottom slab here. That way I have gears on the bottom side. So we're currently working on layer 0. We want to have them stacked up like I showed in the beginning. You can add another layer for that. So we can go to add element down the layers section. If you want to name the first layer level 0, and we'll add in level 1 here. We want to go and select the Y sort enabled on all of these. You want to just some things up here. And we get that property on the whole tile map itself. So we'll go up to the top of the properties and go for sort. And go to enable Y sort. So what this does, this will make sure things are all correctly and they're behind each other. Back to our layers. You also want to set the Y sort origin, the 1 on level 1. So if we draw in, let's say a blue tile, let's say it looks like we are drawing level 0, and that's how we want to draw. You want it to be on top of this white one, level 1, and we also change the Z index. So we have up to 1. You now actually draw on top of the white box here, and you want to add in another layer, you add level 2, we add level 0 1. So right here, Y sort origin at 2, and the index of 2, and enable Y sort. Now we want to draw on top of it, this other one here, and just go to level 2, and draw it there. There we go. If you want to use the slab pieces, let's go to level 0, we want to draw on the same layer here, and if you want to draw, let's say on top of this one, the slab, we try doing that here, and that works like one, so we have level 1 for that. There we go. And similarly for level 2, so let's go and draw another red one over here on level 1, and use the bottom slab, and go level 2. There we go. Next we can add instance using a script. So we can add a script for our tile map. I'll just default name. On top we can animate a constant for whatever tile we want to place here. So let's say I want to place one of these green ones. When I hover over this, it says the atlas coordinates 2, 0. We want to put that down here. We can say a green block atlas pause is a vector 2i of 2, 0. We also make a constant for source level. The main source 0 is the first source we have here. The main source. So the main source is the multiple green tile. So we can just move over that. So we can use SL for that. So the layer we're on, and that we have a bottom layer here, and there's going to be
Wahoo! I guess I could make this bigger. I'm too fat. I'm too fat, man. I'm too big as hell. Yeah, damn it. This will still clip a little bit. It's just like fine, I guess. So for some reason the prop doesn't work, which I don't really understand why. Which is fine. Honestly, it makes it less annoying for me because I actually don't need the prop anymore. I can just build it in my tile map, and then I just need to give whatever is in my tile set the correct collision layers, and then it should interact with it well enough. Seems like this doesn't really matter. I guess it's just if I dupe it, it's like I just have my layers and then it just does it correctly. I guess my player, this is a tile set. Or it's sprite frames, it's animated sprite. It's actually not a tile set. But I could, can I make it? It's not an animation, it needs to be animated. Tile maps are not animated. So I have a slime that's animated. And it goes left and right, but let's throw him in. Let's just see what he does. I'm gonna assume it goes left and right, and it's just gonna bump into these things. Hopefully, that's what it does. Well, it does bump into it. It just doesn't bump into this one. Why? Am I too high? Let's rotate him a little bit. What's my rotate? It's E. There we go. It just needs to touch it. It's a very fine dot. Go 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 go. Oh. Go 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 go. Oh. And I die. It's kind of funny though. Beep 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 boop 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 boop. It's this layer. I can get rid of it. It's not big of a deal. And then this, it dings it. And then when I hit it, the script still applies, so I die and I reset the scene. That's a very fine point, huh? Yeah, that's fun though. Oops. I see how it can get really complicated when I add a hell of a lot of these sprites to animate, and then like it needs to have a storm path and then like script for it to actually do like attacks and stuff. You know, it gets pretty complicated. I see why it takes a while to dev all this stuff. Actually, I'm curious. Let's see if I move this guy in here. It does go behind it. Where's his collision? Wait, this is his whole collision box? What? It does go behind it, but the ray cast is a little odd. It's fine. So is there a workflow for... Actually, I can pull it up. I can pull up GD script on VS Code. I probably can't pull up anything else though. Obviously, like this is Godot, like 2D rendering space, but I could probably, yeah, I could definitely pull it up on. Well, let's just try to stay in GD. Let's just try to stay in Godot as much as you can. Can pull up the GD scripts into well, I think that's enough for today, or for now.